Let's do the cases being dropped real quick. We'll do some lib watch here. All the Trump cases are getting thrown out because he's the God King now.
On the air with breaking news about President-elect Donald Trump, the Justice Department special counsel Jack Smith just filed a motion to dismiss the federal criminal case against the president-elect.
Now they won't even let Trump fire them. They're surrendering and Trump takes a victory lap without suffering a bad news cycle. Yeah. And also, it literally confirms everything Trump has been saying. Like, there has never been a better moment to be a Trump supporter than this moment. Every single thing that he said about, like, these loser, cowardly Dems are coming after me, doing lawfare, you're basically admitting you don't have any interest in preserving the institutions or the rule of law if you're going to be like, well, I guess we can't do anything because you're the president now. That's it. Complete, utter, humiliating defeat for all of these institution defenders, these lovers of institutions. Once again, the damage that this will do, if the Democrats actually did care about preserving the integrity of these institutions, the damage that this act does to the validity and the legitimacy of those institutions are insurmountable. It's completely just throw it away. It's like Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski going down the Mar-a-Lago to kiss Trump's ring after 8 years of calling him a fascist. Then you didn't believe it at all. You didn't believe that he was a fascist at all. You were just lying. It's like when Democrats turn around and say, like, yeah, you know what? Immigrants are actually bad. We got to do the border ourselves after calling Republicans racist for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Okay, I guess you admit it then. You're just a liar. You don't give a shit. In light of this, what are your opinions on leftists voting third party this year and letting this guy do this damage? I understand why some leftists, but this is a bad precedent for Trump to set. If you think this is the fault of like random people who voted third party, who Kamala Harris lost by such wide margins that like their votes were inconsequential regardless, you are stupid, okay? There is no better way to put it. You are watching Democrats in key positions right now taking a knee and genuflecting to this fascist piece of shit, and you're still like, you know who's at fault here? Random third-party voters, actually, who, if they all voted for the Democrats, would have still not allowed the Democratic Party to fucking win. You cannot outflank the Democratic Party. You cannot make the assertion that these people are automatically in the tank for the Democratic Party, but are silly and selfish, and that's why they're not voting for the Democrats. This is an idiotic way to campaign, okay? That's not how this works. And what's happening right now is far, far, far more consequential. People need to cut this shit out, okay? Stop. Do you work for the DNC? Do you have pay stubs to show for it? Why are you defending their inadequacy for free on an independent outlet such as myself? Okay, you're coming to a community of leftists to be like, I am going to defend the $700,000 salary winning idiotic analysts and campaign staffers that literally openly consulted the Democratic Party to lose. I'm going to defend them and their integrity. It's like these guys are getting paid 6 figures. They melted $1 billion. They were $30 million in debt by the end of this campaign, and they lost. It's so dumb. Stop being a mark, okay? Please, I beg of you. Stop being a sucker. Stop being a sucker for those who are in positions of power within the Democratic Party. You are literally doing their bidding. You are refusing to recognize the truth, and you are allowing the Democrats to continue building this narrative that it was actually some random leftist that caused the Democrats to lose again. These people are defending the DNC when Trump has not even gotten into power because they are worried of any transformation to the Democratic Party or growing efforts to leave the party as a whole. I really want to see what Bernie and his organizations are going to do soon. They're planning something. We'll see.
That classified documents case against Mr. Trump, which is on appeal, we expect a filing there, although it's not clear exactly what that filing will say because there are 2 other defendants in that case. And Jack Smith, the special counsel, is required to file a report to the Attorney General before he leaves office explaining his prosecution decisions.
Wouldn't it be wrong to try and jail and pull to court an upcoming president, though, because it internally weakens the country? Some things are more important than partisan fighting. Brother, you either think Trump is a threat to American democracy and is a die-in-the-wool fascist, or you just lied about it for years. I personally think he is, okay? I think he does spell great trouble for American democracy and the future of America in general, and he is a straightforward, ultra-nationalist fascist at this point, okay? He violated the rules regardless. Why the would you cast that aside? He might be, but he's still the leader. Weakening him weakens the country. Yes, dude, you're a dumbass, okay? Liberals and their endless defense of the status quo is precisely the reason why they will always show their bellies. You don't understand. We must obey. We must obey no matter how far he goes. We have to obey. God forbid America gets weakened. I mean, what are you talking about? This is part of the reason why I'm telling you, I have said time and time again that things are different this time around, because liberals are not even doing the 2016 #resistance shit.
Merrick Garland has a policy of making those reports public, so we can expect to see a public report, Lester. But in this case, we don't expect it to go much beyond the volume of material that is already in the public record about both of these criminal cases.
Putting politics aside, what's the chance of resuming the case 4 years from now?
Very little. You and I both noted as the filing was coming in that it said without prejudice, which means theoretically they could bring it again, but it seems highly unlikely, Lester, even notwithstanding statute of limitations issues, all of the effort and resources that were put into this, they never really got off the ground. They didn't get anywhere close to a jury trial, much less the conclusion and sentencing. They just never got there. But between the delays with the Supreme Court decision on immunity and Trump's own efforts to try to get the case blocked, I think the real question now is just whether we even see a final report from Smith's office laying out sort of what evidence he would have adduced at trial. He was also required to explain in that report why he didn't bring any charges. If there were anything that he held back, he's supposed to explain.
He had
that.
already developed a roadmap to get around the Supreme Court ruling on immunity.
He had tried, and they did a superseding indictment, so essentially rewriting the indictment to be more in line with that, kept out some of the evidence that the Supreme Court said was off limits. But even still, he was at the beginning stages of that. Trump was likely to appeal even that new indictment. And so it just really never got off the ground. So the facts didn't change. The evidence didn't change. The only thing that changed is his status.
To politics now, in the new Trump cabinet ready for confirmation. The president-elect announced a series of top administration picks just over the weekend, including hedge fund manager Scott Bessent to be Treasury Secretary and Congresswoman Lori Chavez DeRemer as Labor Secretary. Trump needed less than 3 weeks to pick his cabinet, but some of his more controversial picks may have trouble getting approved by the Senate.
Now that President-elect Trump has made most of his key picks, there are new calls for them to get FBI background checks. But overall, the public is giving him positive marks.
As President-elect Donald Trump put the finishing touches on his cabinet choices this weekend, a new CBS News poll finds 59% of Americans approve of how he's handling the transition.
We're going to have hearings early so we can get his team in place when he takes the oath of office on January 20th.
The poll also shows many of Trump's designees have more support than opposition. That includes some of his more controversial picks, like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Health and Human Services, Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence.
There's a major disconnect with reality in this country. I can't. Everything is bad and only slated to get worse. Do you understand? Like, everything is bad and it's only going to get worse. And there is, I feel like there are not enough people that are actively speaking out against how insane things are getting. And only until people are staring down the actual ever-present danger of Trump's fascist, white nativist, anti-immigrant policies and how devastating that is for the lives of millions of Americans, will they turn around and go, oh man, we fucked up. And at that point, it'll be far too late.
Pete Hegseth for defense, although some voters say they still haven't heard enough.
I'm a yes on Pete Hegseth. I'm a yes on Tulsi Gabbard.
While some GOP senators say they'll vote for the picks, Democrats like Illinois' Tammy Duckworth raise concerns about a sexual assault allegation against Hegseth, which he has denied, and his comments that women shouldn't serve in combat.
He's just flat out wrong. Our military could not go to war without the women who wear this uniform.
She also called Gabbard, who at times has been seen as sympathetic to Russia and Syria, compromised.
She is a true patriot of the United States, and there's no reason why the Democrats are going after her other than the fact they're upset that she left their woke party.
Some lawmakers insist nominees must go through FBI background checks, but the Trump transition has not signed an agreement with the agency to start the vetting process.
If they keep delaying on these background checks, we will have a delay in getting these cabinet officials in.
I don't think the American public cares who does the background checks. What the American public cares about is to see the mandate that they voted in delivered upon.